Do certain cooking oils cause inflammation? That's a very valid question since we use cooking oils all the time in our cooking, or if we're buying food from outside, they have different oils that they use in it. So which ones are good and which ones are bad? And can cooking oils affect chronic conditions like autoimmune diseases? Hi, I'm Dr. Banasali. I'm an autoimmune specialist and lifestyle medicine physician. Let's talk about oils. First, let's talk about fats. Saturated fats and unsaturated fats. Which are the ones that we want? We definitely want the unsaturated fats. Those are considered heart healthy, and they help reduce bad cholesterol, which we definitely don't want too much of. Take olive oil, for instance. It's a superstar in the kitchens. It's part of the Mediterranean diet. It's monounsaturated fat. It's tasty if you pour it on salads lightly, or if you saute veggies with it. It's a great oil to have around. What's the problem? Well, it's kind of expensive. Not everybody can afford it, and not everybody has access to it. But it's a great oil to use in cooking overall. It's extra virgin olive oil actually that's considered the most heart healthy. And the reason is for its antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties. What's the difference between extra virgin olive oil and regular olive oil? Well, the difference is actually how it's processed. So extra virgin olive oil is processed at a low heat and it's pressed from ripe olives, and it's processed without high heat or any chemicals. Whereas in regular olive oil, they may be using high heat to process this. You lose the benefits of those great polyphenols because it's those polyphenols that could give you those extra antioxidant effects. Still, it's a great oil to use. But is there any great studies that show extra virgin olive oil is much better than regular olive oil in preventing all kinds of heart issues or other problems? No, there's not great huge studies comparing the two. Avocado oil is another great oil full of monounsaturated fats. It's got a high smoke point, so you can use it even for stir fries and other items. Great for drizzling on veggies or for salad dressings. So it's another wonderful oil to use. But there has been a debate between avocado oil and coconut oil, which is also a bit tasty. The problem with coconut oil, it is high in saturated fats, which we generally don't want too much of. But is that going to harm us if we use just a tiny bit here and there? Probably not. And it does have a unique flavor that could really add something to certain foods. Gives it a different dimension. So as long as you're not using excessive amounts of it, it might be okay to use in some people. Let's talk about the other seed oils. Canola oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, or soybean oil. Those have been thought to be potentially more dangerous than other oils. But let's break it down. So canola oil is used pretty frequently in cooking and baking, and doesn't have a very strong flavor, so that's why it's a good use of that oil. However, we don't always know what's in the canola oil. That becomes the problem. Corn oil is another mild oil, so you could use it for a lot of different baking and other items. However, you don't want the GMO version of this oil, so if you're going to get it, non-GMO is best. Soybean oil is commonly found in processed foods. It's not the best oil. It's okay to use once in a while, but you may want to choose the non-hydrogenated version of it. It's high in polyunsaturated fats. But the point that I was going to get to was it's not so much the oil that you use, but it's more what you are frying in that oil or cooking in that oil or baking in that oil. So those foods are the question. You're having some fatty fried foods and deep frying it in olive oil all the time or in avocado oil every day, then that's probably not so good for you. However, if you're using occasional coconut oil or occasional sunflower oil or corn oil, or you're using it very little and just for lightly sauteing something, then once in a while it might be okay to use. But extra virgin olive oil, that's actually what's good for you. But it's very expensive, so you can't use it all the time, and it might be hard to use it for cooking or for big amounts of food. Whatever oil you choose to use, make sure you don't burn it. It won't taste good, but also it loses a lot of the good properties that you really want to have. For example, olive oil, it does not do well at high smoke points. So you can use it, the oil might look okay, but you're not getting those great benefits of it. Whereas avocado oil has a higher smoke point, so you can get more of those benefits from it. Now the problem with these unsaturated fats in the seed oils is that it's proposed that they have more omega-6s in them. Omega-6 is more associated with other health issues, and that's why people say that you shouldn't have those seed oils. Do we have definitive evidence of this? Using one specific seed oil is going to cause you to die sooner? We don't actually have that very definitive evidence. It's proposed evidence where omega-6s might be worse for you, and you may want more of a balance of omega-3s. That's what research is showing. However, like I said, there is no definitive long-term studies on that. In a paper from 2021, researchers said that in the last 100 years, there has been a big change in the ratios of omegas in our diet. For example, 100 years ago, we had about a 4-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. Now it's more of a 20-to-1 ratio for omega-6 to omega-3, so way more omega-6. They're proposing that the reason that we have more chronic conditions is because of more omega-6 in our diet. And if we reduce that and increase our omega-3s, whether it's by supplementation or a change in our diet, that could hopefully reduce the amount of autoimmune conditions and chronic conditions like asthma and allergies. This theory hasn't been proven, although it's interesting to understand because there is a change in our diets from the last 100 years. But what else is there a change in? Probably how much we move and our lifestyle. So when people decide that they want to change a diet, oftentimes I hear that they want to go on a clean diet. And for a lot of people, that means that they're going to cut out the processed foods, reduced baked items, sugary baked items, reduced fried foods, sodas. So they're changing kind of their whole diet. And they may change the oil along with that diet. So they might be feeling better, but it might not be because of the oil. It could be all the other changes that they've actually made. So we don't yet know which is the best oil. Although in general, if you don't burn off that fat, whether it's saturated fat or unsaturated fat, it's probably not a good idea to have excess in your body. So in summary, what are some important things to remember? Which cooking oils are good for us? Well, let's stick to a few different points. Number one, we want to have least processed oils or least refined oils. So whichever oil you choose, want least refinement. Number two, don't let it reach the smoke point. You don't want it to get that hot and burn and lose the good properties that you're looking for, the polyphenols, because they will degrade if you get to the smoke point. Number three, storage is actually very important because if the sunlight is constantly beating down on it, it won't last as long. Keep it in a dark place. Number four, it matters so much what you cook in there. So if you're eating a very heavy, fatty, fried food in olive oil or avocado oil, you're still probably not eating something as well as you should. So make sure you're actually paying attention to what you're cooking in that oil. If this was helpful, then please hit subscribe and we'll see you next time.